What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. In today's episode, we are going to be doing a prep guide for the Turtwig Community Day. Don't worry about it. Once we end up getting closer to the Community Day and of course get the moveset confirmed, I will re-establish an actual Community Day guide, which will encompass the secondary Ultra bonus that will be going on during the same time. So definitely make sure that you are staying tuned for that. But in today's episode, we're going to accomplish three different things. Number one, we are going to talk about the event features itself and why you want to go ahead and start prepping now. And then for the second and third accomplishment, we are going to focus on two different strategies. That way, once you get to Community Day, you are going to be able to take full-on advantage of it and definitely be glad that you prepared for it. If you are new to this channel and you do enjoy this type of content, and of course it is helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. Starting off with this event, we can go ahead and cover over the features. The first and main thing that you need to talk about in relation to giving yourself a target is the fact that it will be on Sunday, September 15th. And if you are watching this video, I'm giving you a 2-week heads up to start working on this. So that should be plenty of time. And to be honest, the main focus of this is centered around those bonuses where you have that ×3 catch Stardust. That is personally one of my favorite out of all of this. I think many people would agree with me that they do enjoy that ×3 Stardust, but we've talked about that a little bit. And because Stardust is so important, that is going to be centered around the first strategy that we focus on, and that is the research task stacking method, also known as queuing up the research task. If you do not know how to do this, do not worry about it. I'm going to put on at the end of the video a tutorial of how to do it, and I also have created a video explaining how it works in other terms if you do not quite grasp it. But because I've covered it so many times on this channel, instead I'm going to be talking about the strategy that you want to do. Once you figure out how it works, it's not just as simple as, oh, go out there and do it. There's still some ways that you can optimize it, so that's what we are going to be talking about today. But the main benefit to it is you can stack up 100 Pokemon, and instead of just going ahead and catching them at just any point in time, you would only end up getting yourself around 100 Stardust, right, for just catching like a baseline evolution. Instead, if you stack them up and open them up during that ×3 catch Stardust, you're going to get 300 Stardust for that base unit, and then of course throw on a star piece. You're talking about 450 minimum on that Stardust, so you're definitely going to want to do that. But I wanted to point something out to you just to give you a little bit of a heads up related to this. It's not just the base evolutions that you can get. There are currently 3 different research tasks that you can focus on that will get you 1,350 for every task that you stack or queue up in the research queue. So that's definitely going to be huge. We've got to use 5 berries, and then we've got to use 5 Nanab berries, and then use 10 Pineapple berries. So those are not hard at all. You can honestly just dump off those berries. I tend to throw away the first 2 anyways, so that's going to give you kind of some use related to it. But the Pokemon that you will get is going to be Weeping Bell, Swalot, and then Loudred. But like I said, the main reason why I look at these, it's not because these Pokemon are good or anything like that. It more or less has to do with the fact that you can use it as a Stardust vehicle to really ramp it up. Maybe you yourself got lucky and ended up getting some of those Blastoise tasks from the water event, and that's going to be the 3rd evolution line, so it would typically be 500 base. We're talking about 2,250, which is insane on that Stardust. So if you did manage to get some of those, hopefully you did hold off on that. But yeah, this is going to be a big deal, something that I personally been taking advantage of. I'm already building it up, and to be honest, if you can't get yourself 100 research tasks stacked by the time we end up getting around to the Community Day, I would say that these 3 are going to be the way to make it up for you. They are equivalent to 3 of the research tasks since they are 300 versus 100. So yeah, if you can get these, you can definitely make up for it and get yourself some insane Stardust. Other than that, I wanted to go ahead and point out the fact that there is nothing stopping you right now from going ahead and trading yourself some Turtwigs. Getting yourself some Turtwigs, maybe getting some of those weather boosted variations as well, and go ahead and focus on this now. And I will say that I myself have found myself having a couple of these, but not necessarily taking advantage of it before the event actually begins. Then the event begins, I catch for, 2-3 hours, and then dedicate like the last hour to trying to do some trades and stuff. But what I personally seen for myself that ends up happening is the fact that I'm just kind of like worried, a little anxious, just waiting till the last minute. I have no idea if I have myself any that are worth evolving up to the final evolution. and it ends up being a lot more stressful than it has to be. I ended up pulling this graphic or this screenshot from Couple of Gaming over at GoHub. He was just kind of talking about saying like, hey, I'm already ready for this event. This is something that you are going to want to try to do moving forward. There's nothing stopping you from focusing on it right now. I mean, if you check this out, I mean, he's already got 7 of the lucky variations of it. And then for myself, I've been focusing on this as well. I want to say that the biggest highlight for myself is the fact that I did manage to get myself a weather boosted level 35, 93%, and I was smart enough to know not to evolve it to that final evolution. Just wait until the community day comes around. That's easily going to be like one of the best situations that you can be in. Of course, being ready for this community day, prepping for it now, putting a lot of the work on the front end, and I do think that you are going to appreciate it. Hopefully you do enjoy this type of content, kind of talking about things now and planning it out. But anyways, that just about wraps up the video. Hopefully this was helpful, just talking about the different things that you can go ahead and start working on now. And don't forget to share this with new players in your community. Throw it on your Facebook page, throw it in Discord, help anyone and everyone, because yes, these are very good strategies and they may be something that just comes naturally to you, but there are always new players coming in and you definitely want to set them up for success. But anyways, I said I would go ahead and end on how to do the stacking method or the queuing method. So let's go ahead and roll to that. But anyways, I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and I will see you next time. So I've ran into a lot of people who seem to be confused related to how the stacking of the research tasks work, mostly for the fact that what you see here is very difficult to kind of like see behind the lens of exactly what is going on. And I figured we might as well go ahead and use some cards. I think that that's a really good way to go ahead and do this. So for example, we've got ourselves the 3 research tasks. This is something that many of you have seen if you just go into your research. And what ends up happening is once you encounter one of the Pokemon and you run from them, go ahead and throw a Pineapple Berry on that, by the way. It's not required, but it is recommended so you don't have to bury it later, so you can just save time. But you will encounter the Pokemon and simply run from it. And once you do that, what will end up happening is the number 1 Pokemon will move up into that top slot, and then number 2 and 3 will move up there, and then you'll have like a 4th slot that's going to be empty. Now let's say you keep doing some research tasks and then you end up completing them, and now you've got the research stack, and then you have your typical 3 slots. For example, in this case, we've got Pokemon 2, Pokemon 3, Pokemon 4. Now what's going to end up happening is if you encounter number 2, and then you run from that Pokemon, it's going to go to the back of the stack. And then 3 and 4 will move up, and then eventually you'll fill in that slot, and you'll just keep repeating this. So you encounter number 3, and then you run from it, and it will simply go to the back of the stack, and then the same thing will just keep happening over and over and over again. Number 4, it's going to go to the back of the stack once you end up running from the encounter. Number 5, you do the encounter, and then you run from it, and it will go to the back of the stack. And then number 6, you do the same thing, and now it is in the back. So as you can see, of course there's only one layer to this, but when we've talked about this example, you know that there are multiple cards that are behind that number 1 slot. This is the stacking of the different Pokemon with the research, right? Sure, it looks like one stack, but it is multiple Pokemon. This can be 100 Pokemon deep. But once you end up getting past that 100 slot, so let's say for example you completed another research task and it went to the back, you're now at 101 Pokemon. Because the stack can only hold 100 in total, what will end up happening is that number 101 will go to the very back and number 1 gets kicked out. This is going to be a loss of Stardust on that Pokemon, but the stack is still going to be 100 deep. It's just going to start with number 2 and then go to 101. And if you keep on doing that, it's just going to cycle through these, and you're just going to lose the first set of Pokemon that you have. So it's important that once you end up getting your total 100 done, to go ahead and just clear out your stack at that point in time, especially if you have post-evolution Pokemon, for example, that Swalot. You don't want to end up losing a Pokemon like that because it will be more valuable than something else that is just the first line evolution. If you want to develop a deeper connection, I would highly recommend you to check out Patreon. We've got a lot of really cool things going on over there. Check out all of these supporters that we have. We are almost up to 100. We are also posting some special content, some behind the scenes work. And if that is the type of thing that interests you, I would highly recommend you to check it out.